our friend. He's always a great contributor on Fox Sports. He hosts the NFL on Fox podcast, and also he'll give you a spoonerism any time of day. His name is David Helman. What's happening, Dave?
Hello, gentlemen. Great to be here.
It's great to have you here. It's Philly week for the Cowboys. Let me ask you this question because I posed it in the segment prior. Do you view this game as maybe like an MVP conversation matchup? Like, is this going to, in some ways, determine the MVP?
I don't think you can win the MVP in a game like this, but I think you can probably lose it, particularly if you're Dak Prescott. And look, let's call it what it is. It's great to win the MVP. It's a prestigious award. It's something that we talk about when we consider like your Hall of Fame credentials or where you stack up. But it's a very narrative-driven award. It goes to it almost always goes to a player on a team that's going to be in Super Bowl contention, a team that's got 12, 13, 14 wins. It's been a decade at least since somebody who didn't win their division won the MVP, I believe. You got to play well in these big spots. You probably got to win your division. So, if Dak Prescott doesn't get this win, and the Cowboys might still not win the NFC East even if they win this game, but you're almost certainly not going to do it if you don't win this game. National audience, I'm sure it's going to do crazy numbers, maybe even record numbers. And these are the types of games that get remembered much more than what you do on a Sunday afternoon or even a Thursday night. So yeah, if he's going to have a chance to win it, it's got to happen Sunday night for sure.
Hey, David, it is Blake. Nice to meet you. Quick question.
Nice to meet you too, Blake.
So I've been pretty high on the Cowboys. How much of the game against the Niners for the Eagles was maybe just a one-game sample size, or can the Cowboys look to do something similar that the 49ers just did? Or do you find this game being a little bit closer and that game was a little bit of an anomaly against the Niners?
If we're doing that, then we got to say the same thing about the Cowboys. Really my main takeaway, it's not so much like my opinion of the Eagles isn't really any different. It's mainly just like, holy hell, who's going to beat the San Francisco 49ers? That's crazy when you consider what they've done to Dallas and Philadelphia. And then you throw in Jacksonville too. I know they don't have Trevor right now, but that was a team that was hot, very hot when they played Jacksonville, and they beat them the same way. Anyway, that's not what you asked. No, like I said, it doesn't really change my opinion of Philadelphia, but I think Dallas is a good matchup for the Eagles and has been for quite a while. These games are usually entertaining when everybody's really healthy. I think clearly the Eagles' back seven is something that can be exploited by a good offense, and that's what Dallas has. Really, the only thing that kept Dallas from winning that game by inches last time, a little bit better spatial awareness by Luke Schoonmaker and Dak Prescott, but also just keeping Dak on his feet for like half a second longer. I really think that's the Eagles' one hope of slowing down this Dallas offense, is that pass rush having another big day like it did in this game. So I do think there are some ways that you can exploit the Eagles. Not to say that, I don't see Dallas winning this game as convincingly as San Francisco did. But I just think there are things about the Eagles that play into Dallas' strengths. Like I said, their secondary, their back seven, not very good this season. They're not running the ball nearly as well as what we've gotten used to seeing from the Eagles over the last 2 or 3 years. Clearly that's a weakness for the Dallas defense. So if you can force them into advantageous situations where they can't lean on the run game and lean on the brotherly shove, I think that could be a big factor in this game. So yeah, I think there's a couple big elements that make me like the Cowboys' chances in this game.
I love that you pointed out, the Eagles' secondary kind of weakness, particularly when you consider the way that Dak Prescott has been getting the ball vertically up the field. But that did bring me to kind of one of the concerns that I've been thinking about lately on this Dallas Cowboys team. We always kind of talk about this defense as a strength of it, and it is in a lot of ways. However, have you also noticed the ways in which the Cowboys safeties have not been up to their same level of expectation this season?
Yeah, when we talk about the Dallas defense being great, I think at this point we're really talking about the Dallas pass rush. We're talking about like Micah and D-Law and everybody else getting after the quarterback. And if you can do that, and they've been very good at doing that, you generate the opportunity for chunk plays and turnovers. But yeah, I mean, I hate to say disappointing, because we didn't really get to look at what this defense was supposed to be. Between, obviously, you lose Trayvon Diggs before you've even played 3 games, and you've had a long list of injuries at linebacker. So I hate to say disappointing, but it has not been quite as dominant a unit as we've gotten used to, mainly more opportunistic, I think. So yeah, I mean, I do think when you consider I agree with you. I think the Cowboys safeties have maybe liability is harsh, but they certainly haven't been as trustworthy as what we've gotten used to. And Deron Bland's a good player. I don't hold it against him that, I mean, you're gonna take some L's when you go against Washington's receiver core and DK Metcalf. Like, that happens, but I don't think you can call this a shutdown unit, at least not over the last 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, I mean, get ready for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith to have some wins. I think it would be completely unrealistic. I mean, nobody's really been able to stop those guys, so I don't really think that's going to be a ton different. I think it's just, can you force them into, must-pass situations? And then once you've done that, can you take advantage of the 2 or 3 times the ball's going to be there for you to make a big play on it? I absolutely expect the Eagles to score, high 20s, at least low 20s in this game. I mean, it could even be a track meet. So I don't think you're going to stop them. It's just a matter of who takes advantage of the opportunities for game-swinging plays.
Obviously, we'll get this answer on Sunday when the Cowboys play the Eagles, but I'm putting you on the spot beforehand. How do you see, especially the NFC kind of power ranking, kind of stacking up, especially with those top teams? Where do you see the Cowboys falling on that? Are they right there with the Eagles, right below the Lions, some other teams kind of creeping in? What chances do you give the Cowboys of making real noise in the playoffs from what you've seen?
I mean, I think there's 3 teams in the NFC that are on a different level from everybody else. And then the crazy thing is that the Niners have clearly put themselves on a different level even from that. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Niners have outscored the Cowboys and the Eagles 84-29. I'm not sure what you're supposed to say to that, but yeah. I think there's a pretty sizable gap, in my opinion, between the Cowboys and Eagles and then everybody else but the Niners. I mean, the Lions defense has been a big problem spot for about a month now. They've just had so many injuries. Their pass rush has really not, I don't think, been as impressive as they were hoping it would be. Obviously, the NFC South speaks for itself. And then, even the hot wild card teams like Green Bay and the Rams, I mean, have their deficiencies. So, I mean, I put the Cowboys right there. The thing for them, the math's just against them getting home games in the playoffs. I mean, like I said, even I think they technically take the lead in the division this week if they beat the Eagles, but the Eagles have once they get done with this game, and I think they play the Seahawks, but after that, they get the Giants twice and the Cardinals. So I really think even if they lose this game, the Eagles could kind of just easily cruise to at least a home game, if not home field advantage. That's the benefit of winning like 10 games in a row or whatever it was. So I do think the Cowboys are a good team. I definitely think they're good enough to be there on divisional weekend. But it sucks for them that even with a win, I'm not sure the math is on their side in terms of like getting home field advantage or certainly getting a bye week. Having lost to Philly and San Francisco, that feels almost impossible.
We're talking to David Helman of Fox Sports right here on 105.3 The Fan. And Dave, we've talked a lot of Cowboys, and I could keep talking Cowboys, but I also know one of the reasons why you enjoy jumping on with us is I'm going to do things like this. College football. Okay. I kind of want to jump in on the conversation about Florida State missing out on the Final Four here with you. However, I'm not going to do it in the way that I think everybody else is.
Okay.
Can I ask you, and look, I understand that you're probably, in a place where you're sympathizing with Florida State, the poor college football program that has never gotten any love, Florida State, on missing out on this.
Middle child vibes.
However, Do you have any real feeling that Florida State had a chance of winning it all? Like, obviously, I'm not asking you to do the college football playoff committee thing of they probably weren't going to win this game. Do you think they actually could have won the championship if they were in this Final Four?
If they can beat Michigan, why can't they win it all? Like, I mean, and I absolutely think that they're capable of beating Michigan. Honestly, the funny thing is, I mean, and that's why they did it, right? I said this to Emmanuel Acho the other day. Like, the committee did an amazing job if making good TV is the job. And the cynical side of me would argue that it was. I mean, that is the job, is to create the two most entertaining matchups, regardless of how fair or deserving it is. And ironically, I think the only team that I wouldn't give Florida State a shot to beat is Alabama. Mm-hmm. And that's why Alabama got in over them. It's completely unfair. It's completely undeserved. But that's what happens when you're Bama and you recruit at that level and you've got a decade-long reputation of being able to win games like this. But, yeah, I mean, would I put money on Florida State to win 2 games in a row like this? No. But, I mean, Florida State has talent. Florida State's defense was playing out of its mind. Mm-hmm. You know, we're among friends here. I know we're on the radio, but I always, you know, I talk to you, Reg, like it's just you and me hanging out at Jeff's pool.
And I appreciate that.
I think Michigan's a bunch of frauds, and why shouldn't I?
Well, I mean, look, J.J. McCarthy might not be entirely healthy, and they have not seemed like a team that's all that excited to throw the ball with J.J. McCarthy.
They've done it not in the second half.
Honestly, the dirty little secret about this college football season, like, who's actually good? Mm-hmm. Bama lost to Texas. Bama beat a Georgia team, and Georgia's got a lot of talent, but real quick, who's Georgia beaten that I'm supposed to be impressed about? Georgia didn't play a non-conference schedule. Georgia's best win is Mizzou. Cool. Have fun with that. Texas beat Bama, but then they lost to OU, and they've also spent the last month and a half playing with their food, barely beating Iowa State and Kansas State.
And Houston, don't forget about that one.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Washington, the 2 wins against Oregon are very, very nice. Everything else they did in the Pac-12 was by the skin of their teeth. And then you've got Michigan, who beat, again, Ohio State team. What has Ohio State done that I'm supposed to care about?
Oh, I'm sure that's going to go over well.
They played Michigan tight.
What's Michigan done that I'm supposed to care about?
They both beat Penn State, Dave.
Exactly. Like, I'm so unimpressed by the top of college football this year. And, I mean, look, all you have to do is win 2 games. That's fine. But, yeah, I actually do think this Florida State team, at the very least, could have played these teams tough. And especially the thing that I think people forget about, so many people turned into that conference championship game and were like, these guys are terrible. That was their 3rd-string quarterback. Mm-hmm. Their backup got concussed when they beat Florida by double digits in the swamp the week before. Or not 9 points, not 10. They beat them by 2 possessions. So you get your backup quarterback back, and you get into the field against a bunch of teams that, like I said, I have not been impressed by all year. I at least think they have a shot. I would have liked to see them, have a chance.
David, quickly, what's your scope on the next year of college football? We got all this realignment. We've seen more people in the portal than ever. We got kind of some different matchups we're going to see. What are you most excited for? You think it's going to be a more exciting season than last year? Obviously, we're going to have the bigger expanded playoffs. What's kind of your temperature of the room for next year's season?
I mean, slowly but surely, we're just getting the NFL all over again.
That's right.
Like, that's what they want, man. They want like the top 40 programs going against each other. Your roster is going to change every year, just like in the NFL because of the portal. You're going to have even more movement. You're going to have, you will have even more parity probably. It's going to be entertaining in its own way, but yeah, it's hard not to feel like the TV networks are just gradually trying to turn this thing into the NFL that plays on Saturday, which that's fine. It'll still be entertaining in its own way. And as long as LSU's playing football, I'll care about it. So I guess in a way it kind of proves their point.
Which conference are you looking most forward to? The new SEC? New Big Ten, one that we haven't mentioned as far as the realignment?
I'm a diehard LSU fan, and now I get even more reason to hate Texas and Oklahoma. And getting Texas and OU back in the mix with A&M, and now we all get to hate Bama at the same time. Like, it's going to be a party. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, I mean, look, I hate the SEC more than anybody, but it is the best conference, and it'll be a lot of fun to see those two brands get in on the action.
He's David Helman. He hosts the NFL on Fox podcast. Anything special happening, my man?
Busy, dude. Last week we were up to our eyeballs in Eagles Niners content, and we're doing the same thing for Cowboys Eagles. We've already done so much on it, but we'll have even more heading into the weekend. I got Greg Olson on to preview the Niners Seahawks game. Maybe the Seahawks will carry that big performance against Dallas forward into that weekend. Maybe, just as soon as you think everything's set in stone, maybe the Seahawks rise up and upset the Niners. I don't think I buy that, but who knows? But, yeah, busy times as we move toward the holidays. And, if you want to give us a download, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, that's the NFL on Fox podcast hosted by our friend David Helman. That's at David Helman on Twitter or X. Helman, have a good one, my man. And let's get Jaden Daniels that Heisman.
Man, just get Jaden the Heisman, and I'll just move past this whole mediocre college football season.
Very good.
Appreciate
Very good.
It, guys.
All right, my man. Like I said, David Helman joining us on the Boomer Jacks Bar and Grill Hotline. Always love that guy.
What a nice guy. That was
the best.
That was a great first meet. I mean,
he's the best.
It's like we're already besties.
Yeah, you get a chance to meet him in person. It's even better.